Happy Monday, everybody. Anything interesting happen in the time before we started the show? Did anything interesting occur that maybe will have completely made me rip up what the plans were for the show today? Anybody? Anything? No, nothing. Just a nice easy Monday. Hello to Heldy. Hello to Jonathan. Hello to Braden. But what a start to what a start to the week. We are going to get into this in a second here. I know I started a little bit late. I was getting everything ready for the show, and then the news happened, so I'm getting everything else set up here. So just give me a second. I'm typing out the tweet. You probably hear me frantically typing on the keyboard here as we're in the pre-show. Were you waiting? I wasn't, Braden. I just actually was delayed. I had a little bit of a delay that led me into, and I was actually in a meeting. That's what caused the delay. And I was in a meeting, and then, boom, here we go. What's up, RC? What's up, Raul? I had lunch. What'd you have for lunch, Raul? It's 11 o'clock on the East Coast. You're not on the East Coast. I forget where you are in some European country where it would be more acceptable to eat lunch at this time. That is what I'm taking away from this conversation. The United Kingdom? Why do I think like you're in the UK or something? And so it's like way past lunchtime for you, so lunch would be extremely appropriate. No, Braden, I had no idea. I didn't have a clue. I was literally sidetracked over other stuff. All right, so let's finish the tweet here. And tweet it out so that everybody can come hang out with us. Okay, we have now tweeted. Okay. You know what, Raul? I had it the whole way. Had it the whole way that you were in the United Kingdom. I know the people of the show. Okay, what's up, Tuttle? Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great start to their Monday. I will transition into the video screen. Hello. Greetings. Hope everybody has their morning cup of joe, water, soda, tea, whatever beverage they have while they consume TDN Daily. And I hope everybody's having a great start to their day. We are going to get started here in just a second. 11 a.m. is perfectly acceptable for lunch if you get up early enough. We might save that. We might save that for the post. That might be a post-show conversation. Bender, keep that comment holstered for the post-show. Because we can discuss that at large. Okay. What's up, Peyton? Doing live mocks again. I won't say no. I won't immediately rule it out. But not any tentative plans. This week, but potentially I won't rule it out. Jason says, just came in before the show to let you know that I'm not happy with your support for Hendon Hooker on the first to the Bucs. Terrible. Cut me deep. Well, Jason, I apologize. That now I know you're upset, but that's not going to change my feeling about it. So, but I appreciate the support in the pre-show, and I appreciate you saying that you're not happy with my support. Is everybody ready to go after what hell you just put in the chat? Are we ready to go here? Feels like everybody's in a rip-roaring mood this morning to get us started. So we will get this thing underway here, and we will record for the podcast audience. And welcome into the Monday edition to the TDN Daily Podcast. Chris Schubert back with you here once again on the show. Hello to you out there in the podcast feed. Hello to you all out there in the YouTube chat. And what a show we have in store for you today. Love it when a plan comes together and then completely gets ripped up before the show. So I had a nice big plan. We had Budda Baker contract discussions that we were going to have, and we might still have. We were going to talk about the rumors about the Vikings potentially cutting Dalvin Cook, and we might still have those. We have the latest mock draft from TDM. Justin Mello put that together. We were going to react to that. We were going to do all of those things here on the show, and we might still do some of them. I was late to pushing the button to start the show. Was getting prep work, was finishing up a meeting, and I started about a minute or two late. Well, good thing I did, because Jalen Hurts signs a contract extension with the Philadelphia Eagles. So you're going to get live reactions to that, because I have not really had time to contextualize it. So we have the contract, we have what it means for the Eagles and Jalen Hurts. We'll talk about what it means for some other quarterbacks who could potentially going to get paid here in the next couple of weeks and or months. And we will get to your reactions in the chat as well. So that is the focus of today's show, and we will start by giving you the details, by giving you the numbers. The Eagles and Jalen Hurts, this according to Ian Rappaport and Tom Pellisario of NFL Network, agreed to terms on a 5-year, $255 million contract extension that makes him the highest paid player in NFL history. So 5 years, $255 million. It is $179.3 million in guarantees and a no-trade clause. Now, I do have to pull up the internet here, and I do have to go to our third favorite website, overthecap.com. I forget where it stands in the power rankings, but I believe it is third. And we're going to look at what Jalen Hurts' new contract would mean in terms of fully guaranteed. So that would put him total guaranteed money, or fully guaranteed money. That would put him second. It puts him ahead of Russ with 124. It puts him ahead of Kyler. Puts ahead of Aaron Rodgers. $179 million. And Heldy points out in the chat, shout out Nicole Lynn. That is a massive contract for a player deserving of a big contract extension. So shout out to her. What a great job on this deal. And this kind of resets the market a little bit. Remember, Josh Allen, he signed a $258 million 6-year extension with $100 million fully guaranteed. This is 1 less year, $3 less million, and 79 more guaranteed at signing. So that is a lot of money. Now, it says it includes $179 million in guarantees. I guess we'll learn more if that is total guarantees or fully guaranteed, because there's obviously guarantees for injuries. So we'll see. If it's $179 million in fully guaranteed money, that would put him second. If it's in total guaranteed money, that would also put him in second. It puts him in front of Russ at 165 and Kyler at 160. So we will, throughout the course of the show, if that news comes through, we will effort to have that for you. And again, live reactions to this. It just happened literally 5 minutes ago as we do this show. But a huge deal for the Eagles, a huge deal for Jalen Hurts, and a big marquee season for Jalen in which he took his team to the Super Bowl. I know they didn't win, but he was a major cog in what they were able to do offensively. Made great strides as a passer. The ability to impact the running game, the QB stuff, the QB sneak stuff on those third and fourth and shorts. That it just is a cheat code in the league. The leadership. I mean, everything about this is a well-deserved contract. I mean, Son just put it in the chat. He deserves it. Dude took his team to the Super Bowl. Took his team to the Super Bowl, was a big active reason why they went to the Super Bowl, made strides in his game. You saw him become a better runner. You saw him become a better passer. You saw the way he could lead his team. It was a fantastic season for Jalen Hurts, and rightly so. Now, I don't want to move too quickly away from this, right? It's a great deal for the Eagles. It's a great deal for Jalen Hurts, and I will try to pull up some of the math on this, because I think on a per year basis. Let me again, we're reacting to all of this in real time here on the show, and again, get your questions here in the chat as we do this. But Field Yates put out a tweet, and this is what I was looking for. Highest paid QBs in the NFL in new money average per year. Jalen Hurts tops the league at $51 million. Aaron Rodgers, $49 million. Kyler Murray, $46.1. Deshaun Watson, $46. Mahomes, $45. That's your top 5 in highest paid QBs in the NFL in new money average per year. Now, that's not their actual cap hit. That's not the actual cash that's going to them every year, but just in new money average per year. Jalen Hurts now the top quarterback in the league at $51 million. So that's the Eagles and Jalen Hurts side of this. Great to get this done. Great to get this done when they got it done. They don't have to worry about this lingering into training camp or lingering into the beginning of the preseason. They got it done. They were already focused, but they can now really dial in and focus on their 2 first-round picks and the entirety of the 2023 NFL Draft, because they know for the next 5 years, we've got Jalen Hurts at this price. We've got Jalen Hurts at this number. And again, good on Jalen Hurts. It's fair value for the way that he's played. Good on the Eagles for giving out that contract. And again, let's take this a step further. Let's take this story and extrapolate it out, because I've already seen the comments in the chat about this. Heldy says, so once we get Burrow and Herbert, this will be the new average for top QB money. You got to think that Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert are looking at this and saying we can get similar, if not more, to what this deal was. 5-255, right? We can take out the particulars of the guarantees, although those matter. We can take out the particulars of the no trade clause, although that stuff matters. 5-255. That is the extension that Jalen Hurts just got. Josh Allen just a few years ago got 6 for $258. That is the way that this league is trending. You can see the way the money is changing in this league in a huge capacity, right? And it is setting up for an interesting summer. Brain says, I love how Howie screwed other teams in the AFC. Love to see it. Again, I don't think Justin Herbert or Joe Burrow are going to come in that much lower than this. They could come in lower. You could look at Justin Herbert and say, you haven't gone to a Super Bowl. I mean, you don't have, the pedigree that Jalen has, so we're not going to give you that much money. But how much lower are you going to get? Again, that's an argument that I don't think it would win, and I don't think they're going to make. So I think both of these guys are going to come in higher than that number, but what do those contracts look like? Fisherman says in the chat, Lamar is jealous right now. That's another layer to this. Here's another contract given out to a big-time quarterback, 5-255. With $179 million in guarantees. And again, we don't know if it's fully guaranteed. I don't know if that's total guaranteed with injuries. We'll get more to the specifics here throughout the course of the days ahead here, maybe within the next few hours or so, and maybe we could talk about it here on the show. But Lamar could get that deal. I mean, Lamar would certainly be worth 5-255 with the way that he's played. Right? I mean, he could also get more. Jalen Hurts got the Kyler Murray deal. RC, I will pull up the Kyler Murray deal just to tell you. Kyler Murray got 5 for $230.5, I think is what it was. It's a 5-year, $230.5 million contract extension. So RC got the same number of years, but he got $20 more million, and the guarantees on it are only $103 million. So it's 110 fully guaranteed. So if that is what Braden says in the chat correct, 110 would be above Kyler. It's above Kyler in everything. It's above Kyler in total value. It's above Kyler in average per year. It's above Kyler in total guarantees, 179 compared to the 160. And it's 110 in fully guaranteed money compared to the 103 for Kyler. So he did better than Kyler RC. It's close. It's comparable. And I think it's a good comp to pull out there. But he got more. And I think that changes the landscape because I think Herbert and Burrow will make more. No, listen, Chad. I also believe they're both going higher. I do. But I think there will be some discussion. There will be some debate in those front offices as part of the negotiations as to how this will ultimately play out. I think Burrow will become the highest paid player for APY by a decent bit. Yeah, I mean, healthy. We'll see what that looks like, right? What that contract looks like. I mean, you now have, the average per year was 50.21, 27 for Rodgers. You now have Jalen getting 255. I gotta do math here. Stand by, everybody. We got 255 divided by 5. He's now 51 per year. 51 per year. Burrow and Herbert, I think, are going to beat that. And I see Dak Prescott's name being thrown out in the chat. Dak Prescott has 2 years left on his deal too, and the franchise tag for him is prohibitive. He'll get $60 million. No, he will not. Dak Prescott will not get $60 million on the next go-around. Guaranteed money for QBs isn't as important as AAV as they rarely get cut. I would agree with that, RC. I would agree. So $51 million, the AAV on this deal. No way Dak Prescott gets $60 million. I will say that right now that I do not think that will be the case whatsoever. Appreciate all the new faces. We got a lot of people in here hanging out with us, and maybe they don't know about TDN Daily podcast that we do here every day on the Draft Network, live on the YouTube channel as well, which is where you all are watching it. And this is supposed to be an extremely interactive conversation and chat. So for all the lurkers in there that are hanging out, if you've got questions, if you've got comments on all of this, we would love to hear from you here throughout the course of the show. We go for about an hour here. Braden now correcting his earlier report, so blame Braden for the inaccuracies that are going to be littered throughout this podcast. So Rap Sheet is now saying 110 fully guaranteed at signing and 126.5 fully guaranteed before year 2. So, okay. I mean, so fully guaranteed, if we call it 126, again, that's higher than Russ. Russ got 245. I mean, he beats Russ in all those capacities as well. So it slots him second. It slots him second in a lot of metrics. It slots him second in fully guaranteed. It slots him second in total guaranteed. It slots him third in total value behind Josh, and it slots him at the top in average per year. And I think Sean's got a pretty good point here in the chat. Cincinnati and LA are now racing to see who can get their QB deal done first. You certainly would think that deadlines are going to spur action, and now a new contract given out to another quarterback in the same offseason, that resets the market a little bit. We'll see what that looks like. Nick says, as a Ravens fan, my question is, why didn't the Ravens just give Lamar after his 3-year? I mean, we'll see. Nick, I still think Lamar will be on the Baltimore Ravens next season, and I think it's very difficult to break through to break through the ice that has formed in these negotiations, right? But if there's anything that could thaw it, it's something like this, and here's why. This gives the teams a new recent framework to go back to Lamar with. They can now structure something very similar to what Jalen Hurts just got paid in the current QB market. And they can say, this is what we are willing to give you. This is a contract in line with what's being given out right now, with what's in line and how we value you as a quarterback, and they could have those conversations. Now, if Lamar is still wants a fully guaranteed contract, still wants certain things in the deal, and the Ravens don't give that, then we're still at that impasse. But this could thaw the negotiations a little bit. It really could, because this is now a recent example. I can't use the Derek Carr contract as an example for Lamar Jackson, right? I can't do that. I can't use the Daniel Jones contract as an example for Lamar Jackson. Jalen Hurts, okay, I can use that as an example. Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, I can use those as an example because that's the tier of quarterback that I think we all feel Lamar Jackson is in. Those are more comparable being able to get this done. And I will add to this, guys. We got a 5-year, $255 million contract for Jalen Hurts. Let's see the work. Let's see the work that Howie Roseman does here on the cap side of this to see what this looks like for this team over the course of the 5 years. I think Jalen took a hometown deal. Also, he could have easily asked for a fully guaranteed contract, Daniel. I don't necessarily think that that's true. I don't know if he could have easily asked for a fully guaranteed deal and had gotten it, right? I don't think teams want to do what the Browns did with Deshaun Watson. I raise my hand and will be and will want to be proven wrong by a team doing it, by a team giving out more than a 3 or 4 year deal. Remember, Kirk Cousins is the king of this. He's got 3-year fully guaranteed contracts with Minnesota. But to give out a contract to the caliber of Deshaun Watson, right? Dollar amount, years, that kind of commitment. I don't know if another team will do that. Let's see if that ends up being the case. Honestly, if I'm Burrow and Herbert, I'm waiting for the other one to get paid first. Both have a chance to reset the market. That's the other part of this too, Sean. So if you do want to be one of these teams, Cincinnati or LA, to get your guy in the building and get it done, you're going to probably have to go over this number to entice the guy to sign first. But how much over the number are you comfortable doing? The 5th-year option for Herbert and Burrow does change the structure. Agree 100%, RC. Agree that because they can wrap that into a new deal and call it an extension. All those things are at play here. There are different nuances to the deal. With Jalen Hurts being a second-round pick, doesn't have that 5th-year option. It kind of changes things. Sam says, I think this deal makes it less likely Lamar stays in Baltimore. The Ravens don't want to pay Jackson this kind of money. Really? I think that's a fascinating look at it. I have been wrong at this at every turn. You've heard me say this a bunch on this show in the past, that I've been wrong with this at every turn. And so my new statement is that he returns. And so I could be wrong again on this and that he ends up going someplace else. But I think they will be able to come to some level of an agreement here at some point. Deadline spur action. And I think that when push comes to shove, they will get to a deal. Now, if the Ravens ultimately don't want to pay Jackson this kind of money with whatever, with the 5-year $255 that Hurts got, or whatever Herbert and Burrow get, if they don't want to go down that path, then yeah, I would agree with you, Sam. It's going to be tough. But I think with the way that the market's going, they're going to have no choice. They're either going to have to pay Lamar in line with what everybody else is making right now, or they're going to have to let him walk, and they have to be okay with that. But putting the non-exclusive tag on him did them no favors in that regard, because it just immediately told teams that, yeah, we'll probably just take the 2 firsts, or we'll match the offer that you give. And I think that just scared a lot of teams away from wanting to make the conversation, or start the conversation. Herbert and Burrow are definitely getting the bag at some point. At some point, they're going to get the bag by the time training camp starts. You kidding me? These two guys are going to sign this offseason very, very quickly. RC, I have zero fear for QB structure. Cap hits will go up in proportion with projected cap increases from new TV deal. RC, I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm saying it in the context of, like, look at the way the Chiefs structured Mahomes' contract. Gives them still some flexibility to add players to their roster. And I'm sure Howie, a good GM, great GM that he is, does a really good job with this stuff. Probably has some cool structuring tools up his sleeve to make the deal even better than it already is. I think this is a home run move for the Eagles. I think it could be even better. I think it could be a grand slam based on the way that it is structured. Lamar price just went up. Ravens are screwed now from Tony Based. Maybe you would have to go into it with the assumption that they are not going to be willing to pay this price tag. I'd be shocked if Lamar takes anything less than this deal, and Baltimore probably doesn't want to pay all that. Well, then we're going to have a tough problem here. We're going to have a tough issue. And Healthy says maybe they shouldn't have paid linebackers $100 million. They do have some money tied up in that, and they just gave Odell Beckham Jr. $15 million guaranteed. I mean, here are some of the big dollars that they have associated. They don't have a ton of big cap numbers. Roquan is making a good amount of money. He just got, 5 years, $100 million from them. That's a pretty big deal, but he only counts for $9 million against the cap. It's a great point, Brian. They didn't lose $15 million in cap space. Odell's $3 million on the cap. That is accurate. He only counts for $3 million, but it's an $11 million cap next year for him to not play for them. They spent $15 million, in cash, and that's a big thing, right? A lot of this is cash you got to pay up front. So if they're giving out all this cash up front to Roquan Smith, to Odell Beckham Jr., do they have the appetite to give out a big money deal like this and have all this fully guaranteed signing cash that they have to, pay out? It'll be interesting to see, but I appreciate the correction because it's true. He only counts for $3 million against the cap, but it's $15 million in cash that they gave out to Odell Beckham Jr. So this is a big story. It is a big story for a lot of different means. It gives us a new barometer for QBs in this stratosphere of 50 million plus, right? Jalen Hurts broke through as a younger quarterback to 50 million plus average annual value per year glass ceiling. Who else is going to join them? I think Joe Burrow does. I think Justin Herbert does. Does Lamar join them? That's the question. It doesn't feel that way right now. I agree with all of you that the sentiment doesn't feel that way. But boy, does that create some problems for the Baltimore Ravens post-draft. Because if they're not going to be able to pay Lamar, or they don't want to pay Lamar, they don't feel comfortable paying that price tag, what does the trade look like for Lamar? And if Lamar's not going to play on the non-exclusive tag, which is $32 million, what does that look like? There's just so many different layers to this that could play out. But I think that's a conversation for post-draft, because again, I don't think anything happens between now and the draft. Could Herbert and Burrow get signed before the draft? I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure they've been working on it. They didn't just all of a sudden wake up today and say, oh my goodness, now all of a sudden Jalen Hurts got signed. Boy, we should really call up the agents for Joe Burrow and Justin Herbert and get these deals done. No, they've been actively working on frameworks, and I'm sure that their frameworks are pretty close to the framework that was just given out to Hurts, at least comparable in terms of the numbers, the 5 and the 255. But we'll see. Brian says, I just don't see how this hurts the Ravens. This helps the Ravens. This is the next guy not getting a fully guaranteed deal. That is what is hanging up the deal with Lamar. They have already offered him $250 million. Brian, I agree with the sentiment that this is another guy not getting a fully guaranteed deal and that this would help the Ravens in that regard. Yes, that's under two assumptions. Assumption number one, that Lamar has been asking for a fully guaranteed deal this entire time. And two, that Lamar would be willing, if statement number one is true, statement number two would be if he is willing to come off that demand at some point. Right? I would agree with everything you just said there. And that contract offer of $250 million with $133 million, I think guaranteed after, through the first 3 years, that was reported back in September. I get what you're saying. I get that contract. But that was in September. Jalen Hurts just got 5 years, $255 million. Does that change things a little bit? Because those guarantees are going to be different than what they offered him in September. Again, Brian, I agree that I would be leaning more towards that they're going to get a deal done at some point, right? That's kind of where I sit right now. I think they will get a deal done, and I think this could thaw the talks a little bit with more quarterbacks hitting free age or hitting the extension market and getting these extensions. I think could thaw the negotiation if they can go back to him and point at 4 recent contracts in a similar caliber of quarterback that Lamar is and say, see, This is what's going on right now. We'll give you something close to this. Now, if the Ravens don't want to give him something close to that, that's a different conversation. But if they do go to him with that, I agree with you that I think this would change things a little bit. I agree with Tony that Lamar's probably going to want more than the 5 years, $250 million. I agree with that as well. But we'll see. We will see how it plays out. Again, we had a lot of other things that we were going to get to here on the show today that we're going to have to get to in the post show. So this is a huge plug here on the podcast feed that this is why you come and hang out in the post show over on YouTube, where you hang out with us on the YouTube version of the show, because after the show we talk about all the other things that maybe we didn't get into a show, and on a day like today, we have a ton of that stuff. So come out and join us in the post show. 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time is when we do the show on YouTube, the Draft Network. Come over there, subscribe to us, hang out with us. You get the pre-show, you get the actual recording of the show, and then the post show where we continue the conversation and we talk about all the other stories that are going on. So please rate, review, subscribe to the podcast feed. For those of you listening to us here on YouTube, don't go anywhere. We've got the post show coming up, so it should be a good time. I hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday. I will talk to you all tomorrow. Okay, so we're in the post show. Hello, everybody. Got a lot of new people in here. Appreciate all the new people hanging out with us on this breaking news edition of TDN Daily. Just so happened to time up with when we were doing things. We can continue this conversation about Lamar, Jalen Hurts, the contracts in general, but I will open the floor to anybody, the new people, the regulars that I see in the chat as well. If you'd like to talk about Budda Baker trade request, if you'd like to talk about the Vikings potentially cutting Dalvin Cook, if you'd like to get into the mock draft, which I didn't even look at because of everything that had happened here, we have all of that at our disposal. So all of that is on the menu for you guys. I will let you kind of dictate where we take the post show. And Bender, don't let me forget your take about eating lunch at 11 o'clock is acceptable depending on what time you wake up, because I do want us to get into what acceptable time to wake up is. Because I think if you get up anywhere between 5:30 and 7, I would agree with you. If you get up after 7 o'clock a.m., you can't have lunch at 11 o'clock. Can't do it. Cannot do it. Braden, we didn't even get to the chaos. We couldn't even get there. Like, my guy said trade, like, the top of the mock says 2023 NFL mock draft trades galore. My guy did trades all over the place. We couldn't address it in the real show. It's unbelievable how much, chaos got thrown into the show right at the top. It's insane. But we've got the mock draft. It's here and ready to go. So whatever you guys want to talk about, I will leave it up to you. The chat, someone's got to drive the show. Someone's got to tell us where to go. I'll tell us where to go. But I don't know if you want to continue to talk about Jalen Hurts, we can. I feel like we got a lot out of that from a content perspective. He can make up to $274.3 million throughout 2028 on his new deal. Seeing this from around the NFL. But appreciate all the new people that have been hanging out with us here today. Hope you subscribe to the podcast in your podcast feed. Hope you subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that notification bell so that you can join us here each and every day. We do this every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We record the TDN Daily podcast, but we have some fun in the process. Vikings to 3. If it happens, do you agree with Levis' pick, or would it be Richardson for you? I'd pick Will. I still believe in Will. It's probably gonna come back to haunt me, but I still believe in Will. Let's talk about this mock draft. I can't. It's a mock draft Monday. Okay, I can't allow us to not discuss the mock draft on a Monday. We're gonna get live reactions because I haven't seen this. Bryce Young, number 1, love it. Will Anderson, number 2. Justin, thank you. I think I finally convinced him because he was not sold on this, but I think I finally convinced him. I've been putting work in the staff meetings on this. The Vikings up. Oh, this is why you said this, Braden. You said Vikings to 3. Do I agree with the Levis pick? Because it's in the mock. Silly me for not knowing this. What did we give up? Holy smokes, we gave up a ton. But you got moving up from 24 to 3. We've talked about this. We gave up 24, 87. We gave up a first in 2024, 2025, and we gave up an edge pass rusher. So so Arizona misses out on Will Anderson, still gets an edge rusher, gets 3 first-round picks. They pick swap to 24, two additional firsts, and 87. So win. Fantastic work. This is absolutely fantastic work by Monty Ossenford. 2 weeks in a row on the mock, he's done some great works. It is also Playoff Hockey Monday, Braden. Yes, great point. Anthony Richardson, 4 to the Indianapolis Colts. Where's my guy Raul? You still in here, my guy? It's for you. Tyree Wilson, 5. We're good with this. The Titans trade up to 7 for C.J. Stroud. Excuse me? We do a pick swap. We give up a future first, and we give up 72. That's fair to move up 5 spots. I'm good with that. The Raiders stay at 7 and take Devon Witherspoon. The Falcons at 8 take Myles Murphy. The Steelers trade up 8 spots to get Paris Johnson Jr. Excuse me. We give up a 17 and 49. We give up 2 twos and a pick swap. Okay, I'm okay with that. The Eagles take Bijan at 10. I love this. You want to talk about chaos? This is chaos. The Lions now at 11 get Jalen Carter. Houston just sticks in their spot and get Jackson Smith and Jigba. Broderick Jones to the Jets. I love that a lot. Joey Porter Jr. to New England. Lucas Van Ness to Green Bay. Christian Gonzalez to Washington. Christian Gonzalez falls all the way to 16 in this mock. Justin, what are you doing? Darnell Wright, 17. This is better value for Darnell, and this fits with what the Bears want to do. I can understand why this trade makes a ton of sense. The Lions get Justin. You can't take a tight end. You can't mock a tight end to the Detroit Lions in the first round. Their fans get very mad at you. I don't know if he knows this. I probably should have warned him ahead of time. You're not allowed to mock them a tight end in the first round. They get very upset. Brian Branch, safety off the board. 19 to the Bucks. Peter Skoronski all the way to 20. Pick 21 forfeited by the Miami Dolphins. Nolan Smith 22. Keely Ringo. Keon White. So we this is where we take the risk because we've already got Daniil Hunter. So we take the risk here at 24. We get a guy that we're betting on some upside with Keon White. Okay, I don't hate that. Dalton Kincaid to Jacksonville. Zay Flowers to the Giants. Steve Avila sneaking in the first round. Getting Jordan Addison in there to Buffalo. Love that, Justin. Matthew Bergeron to Cincinnati. Love that as well. Tommy Adebore to the Saints. We like that. And Deontay Banks. And he added it. Wow, what is this? What is the Houston Texans trade back? Justin. Stealing my ideas. Do you see this, everybody? Justin Mello stealing my ideas. Trading back into the first round. Moving up 1 spot to get Hendon Hooker because he's there at 32. So that they can get that 5th year. What a fantastic job by the Texans to get Will Anderson, to get Jackson Smith and Jigba, and then to get Hendon Hooker at 32. And they just gave up 73. They just pick swapped. They just gave up 73. They still pick a crap ton. This is fantastic all across the board. I will tell you, this is fun. There's chaos all over the place. It's tough, right? Because in a year like this, teams may just not view players differently and might be more willing to trade around, and so that makes you think that there will be more trades. But because there might be so few first-round caliber players, teams might not be willing to trade. But then you could say to yourself, because there's so few first-round players, they're going to want to try to move up, and so they might overpay, which could then cause the chaos. And then teams might feel like this is not that great of a draft class, so I'll package some picks together to move up to get my guy to make sure I get I can convince myself that it's going to be the most chaotic draft of all time, or I can convince myself it's going to be the most dry, bare bones, boring draft of all time, where teams are just going to make picks. That's tough. That's tough. Sorry, just answering a quick email. But what was everybody's favorite pick in this mock draft? Now that we've had a conversation a chance to talk about it here on the show, what was everybody's favorite pick from the mock? I love Will Anderson to Houston. I will continue to love it because it's lining with that idea of not taking a quarterback. I lost the mock. That was what that was, folks. The tab with the mock closed. Will Levis moving up to 3. That's a big package. If the Titans do get a quarterback, though, I hope it is Stroud like Melo has. I'm going to be on a cabin vacation all of next week. Going to have draft day with no work. Now, Heldy, does that mean you're going to be here? I know you're on a cabin vacation, and please enjoy the vacation time with whoever you're spending it with, but Does that mean you're not going to be here at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, to see the YouTube version of TDN Daily? Because that would hurt me. I mean, I'd be happy. I'm happy for you that you're going on a cabin vacation. I'm happy that you're going to have no work and free time. But I kind of would like you to be here. Okay, so you are still going to be here. Okay, fantastic. CJ Stroud to Tennessee at 6, I like, because they didn't give up a ton. Right, that would be another one that I would point out is a home run. I think Detroit dropping down, picking up an additional first next year, and still getting an interior player like Jalen Carter, I think is just a home run. They pick up another pick in this year's draft, 72, which is not like they need that. Heldy, shout out to you. A big round of applause for our guy Heldy, who is at work right now and still enjoying the show. We greatly do appreciate it. We greatly appreciate it, very, very much so. Man, this is a good mock. It's chaotic. I don't know how much of it will actually take place, but I think that's kind of the point of still doing mocks right now. Explore some different avenues. Like, do the thought exercise. What would it look like if this happened? What would it look like if that happened? You're not predictive. It's just a mock draft with the idea of, seeing the way things play out. We're going to do it. I already said to everybody we are going to do my 2023 predictive mock draft. How about this? This is the promise that I will make to everybody. It will be the Thursday edition of the show. So next Thursday, the day of the draft, I will have all of the information gathered at that point, and we will do the predictive mock here on the show. Braden, where are you on Bijan to the Eagles, Chris? Would you want Philly to pull the trigger at 10? Well, no, because I just think there are so many other places that are fun. Like Atlanta at 8 is fun. Detroit getting him at 18 is fun. Like Vegas taking him is fun. Like the Eagles taking him is not fun. So it's just like a cheat code, just like adding to their good team. No, I don't want that. But it's a good pick. I mean, it's a top 3 player in the class at 10. Yeah, it's a win. It's a great pick, and you're a team in Philly that you're not. This is somebody else's pick. You have another pick in the first round. Like, use this to get a player that you would never even fathom about being able to draft all the way down where you're picking. Right? That's the idea. They're picking all the way at 31. Use 10 to pick a player that you would never in a million years be able to pick at 31. Well, Bijan's that kind of player because he's that kind of talent. He's not going to get to 31. I really, truly don't believe he gets to 31. So guess what? If you have a pick at 10, then take a good player. Take Bijan Robinson. My favorite pick in Justin Mock was probably Gonzo at 16. It's a great pick. I mean, it's the first time I've really seen him go outside like the top 12, and I think that's being generous. I mean, he's been, frankly, a top 10 player most of the time throughout this process. I agree on fun. I just didn't know if you thought that it's smart for Philly that high as much as I love Bijan. Well, it's smart because they don't have a pick like that. Like normally, like they have somebody else's pick. So when you have those types of assets, like use it to take a player that in a million years you wouldn't be able to pick at 31. That's how you maximize that pick. Bijan's that kind of player. Like I know the positional value and I know the running and I get all that, but Bijan is that kind of player. So you use that opportunity that is presented to you to make that kind of pick. So that would be what I would do. I just don't think they will. Spoiler alert, I don't think in the predictive mock we're going to have Bijan going number 10 to Philadelphia. I don't think so. Okay, I will make this the last call for any questions here. I've got to do some prep work ahead of the staff meeting this morning, so I want to get out of here with a little bit of time to be able to do that. So any final thoughts on the mock? Buddha and Dalvin Cook maybe we'll get to on tomorrow's show. Probably Buddha in particular, and talk about the Cardinals and how that impacts the number 3 overall pick in the draft next week, unless something else happens crazy here over the next 24 hours, like the Aaron Rodgers trade finalizes or another one of these contract extensions happen. But appreciate everybody kind of being here for a breaking news kind of edition of the show. Again, wasn't planned on being that way. It was planned on just being a normal mock draft Monday, but I saw the tweet with the contract and thought, man, this would be a great conversation to have here on the show. Braden, go for a low score. Set the course record today, this morning, Braden. Set the course record, whatever course you're playing. But yeah, appreciate everybody being here. Again, we're going to have a lot of content this week here on the show. We'll have an opportunity to get into everything that you guys want to get into here this week. So I hope everybody has a great rest of their Monday, and I'll talk to everybody tomorrow.